Hi, glad you're here. Welcome to In the Frame podcast. My name is Dr. Alice Gordon Holloway, and I will bring you business nuggets, entrepreneurship strategies, tactics, know-how for those of you who are starting a new business, been in business for 5 years, 10 years, or 25 years. This is the podcast for you. This has been a work in progress for many years, and now my team and I are ready to let you in. Each time we meet in the frame, I plan to give you real-life practical insight and how to use steps that will help you skyrocket your revenues, build your sales funnel, utilize technology, and develop a powerful network and overall scale your new business or your current business. My mantra is, what gets measured gets done. Barbecue sauce and kettle corn. It may not sound like it goes together, but today in this conversation within the Frame podcast, they do. As a matter of fact, I'm so excited to have an opportunity to welcome two CEOs here. One is the CEO of Naughty But Nice Kettle Corn, Miss Tanesha Summers, that's here for a conversation, as well as Big Daddy Barbecue Sauce CEO Dwayne Thompson. Welcome to In the Frame.
Oh, thank you for having us.
What's poppin'? I know, I love that, And so the opportunity that we're talking about today is basically understanding your business. You brought me a few samples. I know we're getting some samples of the kettle corn as well. And my conversation within the frame is designed to help bring together impact players in the entrepreneurial space and those who are ecosystem partners who are working collaboratively to build a network of innovators, deal makers, game changers, risk takers, those folks who are really making a difference here in our city and around our country. And so I wanted to bring it together because we're going to have a conversation. So I'm going to actually start with Tanesha. Now, Tanesha, you have this kettle corn that is delicious. As a matter of fact, every time I go to an event, I have kettle corn. It's either pretty it's decorated very pretty, within the colors of the organization, cute packages, and everybody wants it.
Yeah.
And you have to just about, go and find your way and fight to get the last bag.
I love to hear that because sometimes I'm like, oh, is the market tired of it? But every time
we're never tired of
I hear
corn.
people are scrapping over it.
We are
good.
We are. But tell us about Naughty But Nice Kettle Corn, because you started your business in 2014.
Yep.
And you're a woman. You're a mom. You also are a business person as well. You are very much a community advocate.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about this Naughty But Nice Kettle Corn, how you got started.
Yeah. So I dated my now husband for 5 years, and I told him during our dating, span that two things are going to happen. Okay. I'm going to leave my corporate job.
Okay.
And I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And thank you, Corey, for making those two things happen. It wasn't until I was on maternity leave, that's the time that, how the saying goes, quiet the mind and the soul will speak. And as busy women running around like chickens with our heads cut off, we oftentimes don't have the time to just be silent and just reflect on where we are in life, what we want. And that's not just women. I mean, that could be men as well, right? You're in survival mode, or you're just busy living the good life. And sometimes life can pass by if you're not living with purpose. And so it wasn't until I was on maternity leave, and that was the first 4-month span that I had to just not work. And I could think about what else would I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I studied Spanish and marketing in college. I actually studied abroad, and I just love all things marketing, the story that it tells. I still light up when I go to the Coca-Cola factory in Atlanta because, the way that they were able to just tell the story in the food and beverage industry and how it crossed over to every sector of your life. If you haven't visited, or if you have, you know what I'm talking about. And so I envision that for Naughty But Nice, and I envision the story that our brand could tell and the impact we could have. And so I kind of hit the ground running during maternity leave, went back to my job because I literally got a promotion as I was starting this business. And then I'm like, okay, God, I'm confused. You gave me the resources. We started this, made this investment, and now I'm getting a promotion, which was, the conflict of that was, it was scary, right? It's already scary to leave your corporate job.
Yes.
Because people around you who want to go that route, and I don't knock it, but it makes you, it creates an insecurity in you because you feel that your corporate job is more secure. they're working towards a 401k, and you're sitting here trying to figure out how to start something from scratch that could literally be the biggest failure of your life, right?
Or biggest success.
Or biggest success
of your life.
So it's really, how do you look at the glass? And so I knew that this was something I had always been passionate about. And I didn't think that God would send Kettle Corn, because I had no interest in anything around food or snacks except for eating them. And but it's been a very just intriguing, adventurous journey. My daughters are now entrepreneurs. My husband now is full-time in this business, and that was a prayer. And so I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that. But Kettle Corn is sweet and salty. And so I like to play off of that in the branding perspective of life is sweet and salty. And it's a combination of those sweet and salty moments that really make life pop. So for me, everything is about purpose, and I love how we have evolved this brand, and I hope that we can continue to do so and collaborate with amazing CEOs like this and others all across the country. So,
well, great. And I want to make sure we don't dim the light of those people who have a strong 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And they work their business 5 to 10.
Yeah.
5 to midnight.
Because that's what I had to do.
In reality.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly what I had to do.
Right.
And I think if you're doing what you love, you never work a day in your life. And there is a place for people in the corporate space, right? Because as we build our business, we want people working with us. I don't say for us, because anybody that I work with, they're working with me within my company. Right. But there's definitely value in there. I learned so much, and I think that has attributed to a good amount of the success that we've had. So yeah, absolutely.
Good. Well, you have a lot of corporate success too, but I'm going to turn this conversation over to you. Good. Yes. Now, of course, I love Big Daddy barbecue sauce as well. Okay, love it. And the seasonings are amazing. We'll talk about that as well. But you started your business shortly thereafter in 2025. At 2015, I apologize, 2015. And I see you all the time on social media. You got this great personality, but you actually are a chef, and you love to cook and prepare these great dishes. Yes. So tell me, how did you get started? Because there are a lot. I would say a quick story. My great grandmother had Ella's Barbecue in Mobile. And I learned later, she's passed away many years ago, she had actually 4 different locations of barbecue stands, if you would, at the time. And so you elevated this conversation and this food for barbecue, this taste for barbecue. But tell us about your company.
So, Big Dad Barbecue, it started as a barbecue sauce, and it really showed what she was saying. It started as a side hustle, like something to do while I work. I worked in corporate America. I've been working since I was 14 years old, but I've always been in either marketing or sales type jobs. I worked for a large burger alarm company. I designed alarm systems for houses and buildings, personal, corporate, and just, I'm from Louisiana. So after moving from, New Orleans, I came up here and kind of like was working back and forth different jobs and just kind of had this thing. And so I used to work at night out cooking. So I used to go to different nightclubs and cook with different things like that. And so I had been praying about more income. And so I was at a nightclub one night. The guy was like, "Hey man, you need to put this stuff in a bottle." I'm like, "Man, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Time to go home."
And we get along.
Right.
And I was like, whatever. And so then after that, the very next week, I was standing outside the club cooking again. And the guy he came up to me, he did that finger pointing thing, that poking thing. He's like, "Man, I don't know what's in that, but you guys said, first of all, you need to get your finger out my chest." Right?
Go back.
I was going to start there. I said, but before I could finish it, that just hurt. I said, "I gave you everything you needed." And I was like, wow.
You let us firing you.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? Okay. So then I went off and I studied. I said, well, what would it take for me to put this in a bottle? Mm-hmm. And so this was the caveat for me. I always had ADHD. Always. So I don't stay focused on things long. Mm-hmm. So when I tried to find out what it took to put my product in a bottle, the first thing you had to do was pass a manufacturing class. So the class was only held twice a year. Mm-hmm. And now they only once a year, was only held twice a year. And it was at all.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay. And I called down to Auburn. They're like, okay, you can get in the last class. It's the last week, or you have to wait till next year. Got into the last class, and boom, there we have it. But I know if I would have to wait till next year to get into that class, I don't know.
It's all what it is.
I probably would. I probably couldn't have focused and stayed focused. I was so into wanting extra money, trying to do something extra. My mind would have taken me to doing something different, trying to create another idea of doing something else. I think because I know me, but because God knows me better, I think He specifically placed me strategically at that time to do that thing to guide me. Because once I was on, I was on.
Okay.
And if I hadn't got on, I'd been trying to
figure something.
what else I could do. So that brought me to the focus.
So you really focused on your goals. You set an actionable plan. You were deliberate and intentional about making it happen.
Exactly.
Okay, because I think that's something that we all kind of can have an idea about how to stay focused, how to stay engaged, and how to stay to where you can see to the fruition of making your product a reality. Yeah. And so I think that this is a great opportunity for a segue. So let's kind of make a little transition. So when you start your business, things are working out well. You're selling the kettle corn, you're selling the barbecue sauce, you're making the seasonings, and your people are loving you. But really, in terms of business, it's about the revenue streams and the opportunity to keep things moving. What are some of the challenges that you've had in your business over the last several years?
Well, the first challenge.
Name two challenges.
The first challenge is you don't start that way. You said you go get your business, you start selling. That's the first challenge.
Yes.
It was your idea, but everybody may not be down with your idea.
I see.
So you see it, and you're like, okay, I'm here. And so we were talking about off camera earlier was the fact that other people, you know what I'm saying, you want to be this this full-time person, but hey, I also got these full-time bills coming in.
Yeah.
So me,
I love that.
Full-time person with full-time bills with full-time stress.
yes, coming in. So it's like, oh, how do I do this to make this happen, right? And so we went there. And then the second thing I think, it's always for me, the opportunity of having that money to continue, that operating capital.
Yes.
That was one of the main things that we talked about when we were not first, man. It was operating capital. Was not so much as the idea of having it, but it's like people always say, so when your next sauce coming out? I'm like, I have a problem making it. One,
Right.
I got sauces in my head.
Sauces per day.
Every product
we fund the ideas. Right.
That's true.
That's operating capital for me. Those are my two great challenges.
Okay. The fact of selling your idea to customers who want to buy your product, and then also to the capital to make things happen and keep things going. Because you have full-time bills. He said it best. So, Tanesha, you're resonating with that too. I saw you getting
Absolutely. I mean, after doing this for a decade, I have invested in continuous education for myself. I hit the ground running. One of the first classes that I did, we were 6 months in, and it was a local program called Co-Starters, which now I facilitate, and I'm helping other small businesses because I'm so passionate about helping them to kind of curtail some of the challenges that we face. And I think a lot of times entrepreneurship, we just lack true mentorship where people actually care and will spend and invest dedicated time. I'm not saying that people don't care, but sometimes you get to a stage where you need people to hold your hand. My biggest challenge after 10 years, to Dwayne's point, I have ideas for days. I am ready to go and execute. I need to capital. I need to restructure some debts that I have, but more importantly, just being awesome, which is my biggest passion. It's that challenge sometimes is, balancing how much time do I spend with just doing some of those everyday things with my daughter, or do I stay up cracking the midnight oil till 3 o'clock? How long do I do that for? And I've had to do that a lot just to get to where we are. People don't see, they see the glory, but they don't know the story, how that is that goes. There have been so many nights that there are people like, how do you get all this done? I may be running off of 3 hours of sleep, but I know it's seasonal, right? It's a season of my life. So I understand myself and my challenges. So I'm growing at an incremental pace so that I can continue to invest in the things that I really value at this season.
Let's talk about one thing. You guys mentioned, and you in particular mentioned, I want Dwayne you to comment on this too. You talk a lot about the fact of, what you need, but do we articulate what we need? Because there's a large group of people who are just like you guys, and me included. But do we ask for enough help? Do we ask for guidance? Do we assume people know what we need, or do we actually articulate and tell them so they can know how to help us?
So let's go back to one of the first things she said when she talked about looking forward to helping people with the heart. I find myself a lot of times doing that, just giving information. And people are surprised that you'll help because so many people are, for whatever reason, they call it being protected, they call it watching over. They want you to get the bump that they got because nobody was there for them. They don't want to be there for you. So these are some of the things, and I don't think a lot of times even about articulation. I think it's about people understanding, but feeling like you need to do this on your own.
To
I did
figure
this on
this
my
out.
own, or I'm not going to, whatever the case, I won't help, or I can't help now because I'm so stressed out, whatever the case may be. And so then as an entrepreneur, I think a lot of times you shouldn't, but you do if you keep it real, you get tired, you get exhausted of saying
The same thing over and over
So
again.
it's like, especially you get tired of people giving you a yes, but meaning a no. They give you a yes to see how far that, oh yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to just play it to see where it goes. Or if we're being real, I'll tell you, for us marketing, we already had this conversation earlier about marketing. I'll tell people, listen, I'm about productivity. I don't have no money. I know I have the ability to make small things look good. Because I know how to make
No money to waste. No money to waste.
Because I said, God has given me a gift to make other things look great, right? Or make it look big. That's always been my thing. Make it look professional. Make it look like $1 million so they can't tell what it is. But when I had this conversation with these people, it's like, listen, I don't have the money to waste or the money to put behind something that doesn't make sense. So this is what I'll do for you. When I was a promoter, I went into clubs, and what I told the club owner was, gauge your last 6 months on this night. Give me those numbers. Anything I create past that number, pay me for it.
Okay.
Pay me for my productivity. So that's always been my passion and my focus. If you're gonna work with me, anything above what I already, because if I can do it for myself and you just come on, we just stay there. And my friend Charles said, there's something wrong, something well.
Okay. So you said something too. You said you first of all, you said something I think that we should retrain our minds. The fact that it's not that you don't have it, it's that you may need to reallocate some things because of that. Because if you speak into existence the things that you want to have happen. I'll tell you that I've started 6 companies, okay? And I will tell you that there's one that was 20 years old that actually sold for a lot, millions. And the great thing about it is that they have to bring through challenges and opportunities. They didn't stay where they are because they were investing in themselves. And not saying you're not investing in yourself, but it is something to be said for how far can you go with being positive and proactive and trying things out. And I think you've tried things out as well. But for you, Tanesha, how has it been for you? Because you have a retail store. Well, both you guys have retail stores. So how has that been to have a retail store where people are seeing the great things happening, even when you've been up, all night long until 4 a.m?
So yeah, we have 4 pillars to our company. It is manufacturing or production / retail. We are inching our way into retail. Retail is really a different monster, and I want to tackle that and tackle it in a way that is truly representative of the experience that we want to bring when people think about Kettle Corn. That's a kind of limited retail experience. And then of course we have our e-commerce, which is totally a different monster. So one product, kind of like 4 different businesses, if you could say. So shipping and understanding, the time lapse and how to get the product there, how much shelf life do we have, how much time can I pop it before they get it and they can enjoy it as if it just came out of the kettle. And then, of course, we have Miss Poppy, which is our Kettle Corn food truck.
I love that too.
So Miss Poppy, our customers help us name her during the pandemic. And they gave us a lot of cute, creative names, but that one resonated because my daughters call my dad Poppy. And then I love Miss Poppy from Trolls. I love Miss Poppy. She is so positive. And if you haven't watched Trolls, you can watch it even as an adult. It will really inspire you. So that's a whole different model, right? It's like we can do scaled events, but really for us, we want to be able to have guaranteed money. So catering,
manufacturing, e-commerce, retail,
Miss Poppy, catering and events, and then we have pop raising, which AKA fundraising.
Okay,
and that has been the biggest thorn in my side, but it's a huge opportunity that I am not capitalizing on. And when I can get past my technology challenges, that then I think will really catapult
helped us in that arena.
I want to turn back to you, Dwayne. Shipping. When we first got together, one of the things you talk a lot about is shipping your product out. You have an incredible, beautiful bottle, but it has a little weight to it as well. And this is some great sauce that you haven't had a chance. It really is. And so how are you able to get your shipping where you can get it to customers? Because you can reach this product all over the world.
Yes, and it's funny that you said, I actually have customers all over
I believe you.
I know I've shipped to Germany. I've shipped to Japan, Australia. I've just been reading in a magazine I was in England about my company. So it is worldwide. And with the shipping, what I found out was that first I partnered with somebody that does a lot of shipping.
Okay.
Right, because I was going to ask that. Yeah, I was going to ask that. And can I ask?
Yes.
Like when you started, when you're getting past the point of now like local domestic shipping, what was your process to get across the border and get into international?
That's just the paperwork. You just have to fill out a special form because not so much of it. You do it as is as a person. But when your real challenge is local, because first of all, with the U.S. Post Office, anything over 13, I think it's 13 ounces, automatically has to be priority. So I was like, y'all killing me with this priority shipping because that's next level shipping.
Yeah.
So I can't even get ground. Right. It's got to go priority over 30. I was like, okay, so how are we going to do that? So then I found a company that was already shipping our products, was getting a break from the U.S. and from the USPS and partner with them.
Smart.
And then I come back and I said, okay, let me set my own account up. So I set up an account online as a company. And then now I get better rates because I've seen the two different rates. As in taking a box to the post office, let them weigh it. That was one way. When I come home, weigh it, same thing. I got another rate because I'm a partner with USPS. So now because I have a USPS partnership as a business, because they want to work with businesses, I get that rate. And I go to I go to a third point, which is Pirate Ship.
Okay, that's who we use.
So Pirate Ship has some of the best rates, and then they allow you to compare rates.
They do.
So now you're looking at all of the rates. So certain parts of the country, it's better for me to send UPS. Then it's better for me to send the postal service. In certain part of the country, it's better to send it DHL. So now you get to see those rates
And make an informed decision. Yeah, because especially sometimes you'll see that rates in rural areas are much higher than going to.
It's hard to get to.
So,
but while we're talking about it, let me tell you one other thing I did when it came to shipping, so that the customer wouldn't be hurt or confused.
Correct.
I came out with a flat number.
Okay, it's from how much it costs to ship it.
I came with a flat rate ship.
Okay.
So now everybody paying the same rate. Sometime I win, sometime I lose, sometime I leave it, but it balances itself out.